Yay! Hey Shelby, how's it going? Hey everybody, how are you today? Welcome back to Illustrator Fantasies. I am Celestian. Shelby, thank you for stopping in, being here tonight. Give me a moment as I'm still trying to figure out just a couple of things on my end here. Sticky notes all over the place. I was looking for that. How are you, Shelby? Don't really need that for sure. I'll just put that up there. So much stuff all over the place. I'm actually kind of sort of ready right now. Also kind of cheating tonight. I should be doing homework. Instead I'm here. It's kind of a story from last night too. Doing well, tired as I've been dumb about getting enough sleep. How are you? I think I'm in the same boat, actually. I think I'm in the same boat. I don't want that. I don't know. What? Okay, go away. Random notifications about things. Okay. Nope, just some notifications. More notifications. All the notifications. Yay. Alright, one thing I definitely want to do right now. I thought I had this set up. I have been trying to get a captioner going, and I really don't know what I should use. So I'm going to figure that out real quick before we get started tonight. I'm going to try and make this happen. Don't want that. Maybe that. Kind of sort of that. I'm going to move that down there. Hope you like seeing my all together, untogether, because that's what's happening right now. I hate that you can see the actual window right now. Like, I can't really figure out how to get this to look the way I want it to. I know I should probably do this before I go live, but I didn't have the time. I actually just finished eating dinner. I guess it's doing its thing, so we're just gonna do that. Come back in here. No, it's not what I want. It's gonna look weird until someone can help me figure that out. Yeah, no, that's really just gonna bother me, I think. I need to figure this out. Let me do a thing real quick. First of all, That is offensive to my sensibilities. What is this? Okay, well, whatever. Nope, I don't like that either. That just looked awful. No, I don't want a shadow color. What is this? Here we go. That's what I want. Ugh. Lord. I'm like this close away from giving up on this, but give me a minute. Do that. Okay, well, whatever. It is gonna do what it's gonna do. Let's... Okay, it doesn't look so bad. Does not look so bad. Okay, I think I'm ready. It's always something with me. Did I actually just say Whataburger? No, I don't know what I was trying to say, if that's what that came up as. I can promise you that. I have no idea. Okay. Yeah. Definitely did not. So the thing about the captioner is that hmm? Anyway, the thing about this captioner is that sometimes it gets confused occasionally with what it thinks you said. Like, I've seen it in use elsewhere, and I've played around with it just for a little bit sometimes myself. And sometimes, yeah, it does get a little confused. And, I may as well not even have the thing up. Like, what kind of nonsense? I wasn't sure how it could confuse it. I mean, well, think about the way that you would say something and how fast we normally talk in regular dialogue. The captioner is capturing all of that information, and it's doing its best. So, if it sounds like I said, "What a burger," then maybe to the captioner, it sounds like I said, "What a burger," when I probably actually just said, "Whatever." Oh, what happened? I'm still playing around with this thing, trying to make sure this looks the way I need it to. Go down to this. Line height. Do that. Letter spacing. We'll do that. We'll take this down to that. How's that look? That just looks awful. Oh, what happened? Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to disable this thing until I can actually figure it out and get it to work properly. I thought I had that thing off. Hold on a minute. No. Okay, so, like, so that's what it thought I said. That's funny. Alright, so I had to fix what it was being triggered by. So, like, I thought I had done that. Apparently I hadn't. Like, it was still seeing, like, some words in use in the chat, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, no, you can't do that. And I had to go back into my preferences. I'm like, what is going on here? I thought I turned that off. No, I didn't. Turn it back on. It does turn it back on. So we're just going to turn that whole thing off. Just the whole thing off. Until I can figure out why that's acting that way. I probably just need to restart, but I don't feel like doing that. I feel like moving on. So that is what I'm going to do. So, Shelby, can you tell me, can you actually read any of that that's on there, or do I need to actually make the text bigger? Because I feel like I need to make the text bigger. Go back into settings, appearance. And what does that look like? Okay. Yeah. That looks better. Cannot really read it. Try now. Can you read it now? I need... Huh. Do that. And then, I don't know, maybe the line height needs to be like that. Does that help? Oh my god. That is too much. That's too much. How's that? Okay, that seems a little better. It looks a little better to me. Okay, I think I got it. Finally. Alright, so I'll have to figure out and kind of hold on to my settings for that little guy down there. Okay, so the captioner works now. That's the most important part. Okay. Well, again, welcome everyone to Illustrator Fantasies, where I finally figured out my captioner. Yay! Alright. What that means next is we can actually get into what I wanted to do tonight. This is my little copy of my first ever published comic, The Night Is Our Victory. So I worked on this. I this was published back in 2014, and I had just kind of sat down and decided I'm just going to start drawing things, and I'm going to, figure out what it is I'm drawing. And I ended up just working on the pages for what became the pieces, really, because they just began life as a series of, like, I don't know how many, 8 or 9, something like that, paintings in watercolor. And because they were, like, really early pieces for when I decided, hey, I'm going to start making art regularly, they're kind of rough. I hadn't at that time refined my painting style. As far as I was concerned, this is what I liked. No defined borders on anything. I wasn't using ink like that, not black ink to outline anything. I hadn't developed my style to where it is now at the time when I was working on this. So I was using just color to show shadows and light, and shape and form. I was kind of doing what I thought should be happening in each scene. And, just kind of worked on each piece. And then at some point I said, I kind of like what's happening. Let me, and I kind of want to make a comic book, so does this work as a comic book? Can I just kind of do that? Because it was already telling a story. And it turned into what it is now. And it took me a week to make each page. So I was doing maybe a page a day. Sitting down, I'd do out the sketch, and then I'd go right into it with my watercolors, and that's what it became this. I was not using my liquid watercolors. I was using something else. It was probably just like actual watercolor from a tube that I was using for these. And so it ended up just kind of being what it was. Here you can also see kind of the initial like layering that I did. So the scenes themselves were so chaotic with just splashes of color and puddles of water everywhere and all sorts of things going on. And, in the midst of all that, layering paints on top of each other just to show that light and dark and to get the definition that I was looking for. This is probably my favorite image from the entire book. And it's not the middle of the book. This is actually the middle of the book, but this, was definitely like the heart scene for me. There's action happening all over the page. There's all sorts of things going on, and then, I'm really showing a lot of depth in, the scene itself. So there's things going on in every inch of it, and that was like, it was a really big dramatic scene for the whole story. And then we have the introduction of some of our little fae creatures here, so that's what's happening there. And then the whole book ends with this scene. And I definitely want to do more with this entire series, because it turned into also the other thing that I wanted to do. I had actually started working on the second act of this series. So it was like 3 acts, basically. So this is the first one, and then the second one was called Knight's Name, and I think I got up to I was working on the 3rd issue, and then I had to switch. I had to like step off and do other things. So that's why it just kind of died and never really went anywhere. And years after, I've been like, no, I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to finish that series. That starts tonight. So this is also the second cover for this. This is the second printing and the second cover for this book. So with my old logo down there in tiny print. So what I want to do tonight is get to work on the reimagining, the remaking of this book. Of this book in particular. We're going to start with that. Yes, I want to go back and look at and redo, or at least finish, the second act. And the second act may actually also get redone. But I definitely want to do this. So we are going to start with this. I'm going to put this off to the side over there. And grab up a pencil. Actually, no, I kind of want to hold on to this because the main thing that I also wanted to do, I kind of wanted to, you know, I wanted to maintain what was happening with each page while also adding a few things. Like just a couple of new pages here. So I have decided that I'm going to use this entire pad of paper that I've got here to retell this entire story. Wish me luck. Aw, thanks for the host, Shelby. Appreciate it. So, what do you think I should do for the first night? I mean, I don't really even know where I want to start. I like to do that when I remember I have that ability. I am so glad you have that ability. But, no, where should I even start? Like, because now that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, and now I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my goodness, how? So, I suppose we could start with, as we do, the cover. I don't really know what this is going to look like. Let me sharpen my pencil. I have a little stand over here that has my sharpener on it and a cup of my brushes. I'm in love. I'm in love. I love it. Okay. Okay. So, I don't know. What should the cover be? We can kind of do what's already happening here. Have a scene full of trees. Got this thing for trees, I suppose. I guess I'm putting a tree right there in the middle, so. I set my kid up with a way better desk than I have. I'm jealous of it some days. Percep is great. We do like trees here. I'm a tree-loving person myself. Do some of these things back here in the background. Some texture. With this pencil, we're going to move the mouse over just a little bit as I'm muttering. Trying to make sure everything shows up for the captions. Oh, that we can't even see because, of course, I forgot to move this thing, so we're gonna copy that and bring that over here. There we go. Well, remember, I changed scenes, so yeah, they're not there anymore. Well, here they are now. Okay, so I think we should be good. Put that right down there. I gotta remember that when I make a new layout to make sure I give a space for my captions box. that right there. Just so that it has a regular place here on the stream. Okay, back to work. So we're going to start with trees. Of course, with trees, I also have to think about the scale of my people who are going to be in this scene. Make sure that you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm trying to put the trees in different planes of the scene. That. You can add some details like little knots and things. Do that there. Anything to help make the trees look more tree-like. Did that over there. We're going to come back over this way. Looks like I have a few people just kind of lurking. Thank you all for coming by and hanging out tonight. I appreciate it. You know you're always welcome here as long as you are polite and respectful. But no, really, thank you for being here. Past week been kind of challenging. I have been like deeply embedded in homework and nothing but homework. So even on nights when I wanted to get up and stream, I'm like, no, I can't because I have homework to do and it wouldn't be responsible. It's still not responsible that I'm not doing my homework because I have an assignment that is late as of last night and will be late tonight that I still have to do, and I'm not doing it right now. It's almost done, but I decided I wanted to do anything else. Just kind of focus on something else for a little bit. You know, we've all been getting a case of the 2020s, getting hit kind of hard, so you know, I think I needed a break. at least just for a little bit. So, and I've had so many people telling me I should take a break. I should just kind of relax a little more. And I'm not that kind of person who's built to relax, but I know I need to. So what about you, Shelby? How's your 2020 going? How do we do that? I need examples, people. No, seriously, absolutely. Like, what's relax mean? Where they do that at? Because it's not here. I mean, I think it's really just like, okay, how do I step away from everything that I'm doing and everything I've got going on? Like, at least the things that I can control. You know, how do I get away from them for at least a little bit to, you know, kind of experience something different? So, it takes some doing. So I'm gonna do something here. We're gonna go there. All right, so we'll just do that back there. We'll just kind of ghost in some trees, just like that. Just in the in-between spaces. Can probably actually fit two back here. We're good there. 2020 has been a bit of a dumpster fire, but with light candles, so it's like pleasant sometimes when the wind blows the right way. Yeah, I understand that. Okay, I think I've put enough trees in there. I need, I don't know, little mounds of snow and stuff here. Okay, I think I have an idea of the scale. So one thing I failed to do in the first iteration of this book was, it's supposed to be happening in the winter. I didn't really display that. Just random night scene. I think bigger challenge is like, how do I show a forest in the middle of the winter at night? That is why we look up reference. This will also give me an idea of like what other things should be there. I'll even put that on the I'll put that up. Let me get this reference here real quick. Like, I want to be like deep forest. Like, what's here? Okay. I like that one. I like that one. I like this one. So I think what's missing are a handful of like little twigs and branches just kind of sticking up through the snow, and I think that'll help to establish the ground plane a little more. Yeah. Ooh, there's some winter dwelling grasses that look kind of cool. I'm about to sneeze. I feel it coming. There it is. Excuse me. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else that I can... Oh, excuse me. Anything else that I can throw in here? Let me see. I like you, but there's another sneeze coming. Some of these are like really dark. Like, I don't mean thematically, I mean with light. There's just not enough light in the thing, so you can really barely see it. Alright, well... I was gonna put this up. Aha, here we go. Well, I guess we're just gonna use this one. Save image as... And then we're going to come back here. And we're going to change this out. Then we're going to put that one up. There we go. No, I don't want you moving. You. Okay. I think you can kind of see that. Everything moving. Okay, whatever. You can see it. And that's all that matters. Captioner is doing its own thing too, and that's bugging me. Like, literally everything is just kind of going where it wants to go. So, but you can see the image, and that's what matters. Oh, I think I know what's happening here. It wasn't Captioner that was moving, it was the background. A little border of this thing. This is why I need a new layout. But that's where I'm going to leave that. Alright. So, what we need... I'm going to use a bigger reference than that. I'm just going to do this. Take the edge of the pencil and just push up. Of course, we have to manage scale as we get closer and farther back in the scene. Some things happen, some can be super long, and so we're just going to do a little more random than that. It can go at all sorts of different angles. And we can bunch them up with others. We can use our left hand too. It's very, very simple. And this is all information that I will then go back and ink before we paint tonight. We can kind of have fun with it. Okay. Meantime, we can also do, like, I don't know, we can kind of give some of these things little branches of their own, so it doesn't look like they're just scattered lines all over the page. Trying to make this look like an actual winter scene. To change the angle of my hand here just to get these details in. And this is just the penciling phase, so I'm making it very, very complex right now. And it's only because, you know, I like a challenge. When it comes to art, I like a challenge. Anything else, no, I just want it to be easy. No, I like challenging myself when it comes to my art. So we can have, maybe this tree has some little branchy buddies sticking out of the snow. They all have their own branches there. Ooh, that one had a nice little cross section going. Do that. Something like that. And of course when I go to clean it up, it'll look pretty different. I kind of like this image so much, but you know what I want. Aha! So here's another one that I like, and I think I want to use this one too. So we're gonna save this one, and I'll bring that into my little collection of reference here. What's up? Let me catch up. Bob Ross makes snow look easy, but I don't get how to do it. Speaking of challenges, do you ever try sketching the bearded? Oh, did you not see it? Oh no, I did that. You need to. I'll link it to you. I totally did that. I think it was probably. I thought you were here for that. You may not have been, but yeah, that happened. That totally happened. I will send you the link to the Instagram because it is definitely up there, because I don't remember exactly what session I did it in, but it definitely happened. Matter of fact, do I still have it? Floating around somewhere. Not there. Box. Oh, I know I did it, Shelby. I know I did it. How was it? Wasn't too bad. Like, I think the most challenging part were just, like, the shapes and the scales. Give me a minute. Let me see if I can find it. Did I not post it? Oh, no. Yes, you are still in here. Bearded dragon. Told you I did it. There they are. So, I think the big challenge was definitely the scales and kind of the shape of the head and the body and how that all went. And I did not give myself enough room to like get the whole body in the way I wanted it to. So, but yes, here he is, bearded dragon, or here they are, your bearded dragon. So I will put this up on Instagram tonight. Before I go to bed, I'll make the endeavor to do that. So, but yes, I did. Put that over there. And I'm going to pull up the other reference image that I'm looking at. Oh, you're welcome, Shelb. You're welcome. I'm going to close that because I think I know what that was supposed to be. This is my reference bit right here. Come here. Which one am I using? This one. Oh, that is tiny. Okay, let me... We're going to do that. So, hopefully you can see that. What we have here are like just some longer curving branches like that. And I really can just do a single line like that. And depending on the brush that I use, I can do that. And that can be kind of a occasional thing like that back there, if you can see that. Put that there. And I'll do another one maybe like that. Oops, it's going the wrong way. So we have that one there. We have 1, 2, and 3, just like that. And the idea really is to fill the scene with the background first. And I tell you why I do this is because once upon a time, I did not like doing backgrounds. They were too complex for me, or like just kind of an oversight. Like, I just never considered doing a background. And when I finally sat down to do backgrounds, you know, I would draw my first figures in. I'm like, okay, and I'm going to draw the background. I'm trying to draw around everybody and put the background over them. And I said, no, this is wrong. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to draw the background first, then put the characters into the background. And that's helps so much more. Do that back there. And that has always been kind of like, ever since that was like how I did it. So you can definitely have these long pieces, just kind of, you have one that's standing straight up back there. You have a more natural evolution of how the characters are acting in the scene. Absolutely, that's exactly right. So this tree right here is in the middle because that's where the spine of the book actually will sit. So this is actually really framing the front of the cover. And this is the cover that we're working on tonight. So the front cover is this portion right here. The back cover is this portion here. Hey, Wingnut, thank you for following. Welcome to Illustrator of Fantasies. Hope you enjoy your stay, and I hope you hang out for a little bit. We're going to be inking this image here. So thank you for the follow. What I think I want something like that over here too, just to help get us back in here. Now, the big question is, how do I want to ink this? I have at my disposal, obviously, black ink, which, yes, I can do that. It's very simple, very basic, very classic. We can just do very typical look. Or I can do the ink in burnt umber, or even sepia. So I think it'll be kind of cool to do it that way, but I don't really know. Love what you're doing. Just popping in. I'll be back in it. Thank you so much for hanging out and just kind of seeing what I'm up to. I appreciate it. And thank you for the love. I'm always about that. This little guy down in there. I don't know. I may just go with classic. Just kind of keep it classic and just have fun with it that way. Okay, so that is that. I kind of want to keep looking at my reference because, I don't know, maybe I want to change how these trees look. Let me see. So what'll end up happening is, I think I'll do it in black. I think we'll keep it classic because, there's going to be other colors on top of it. Let me show you what I'm working with here. Sepia, or sepia, however it's pronounced. Burnt umber. This is the color that I would love to use for a piece, and I want to show you what it actually looks like. To remove the bearded dragon from the book, we're going to test out this color here. I forgot to get fresh water. My concern is, obviously, is that brown rich enough to get the little, to actually be in show up against the colors that I'm going to put into this. And I think that it is. I think that it would be. So yeah, I can use the burnt umber for this cover. And like I want it to be just kind of a fun illustrated piece, so I can definitely do that. And I think the burnt umber will stand out a little more with the, you know, the pale, like slate bluish whatever gray that is supposed to happen back there. So it's actually a really pretty drawing. I don't know, what do you think? I kind of like that. Yeah, I like that. I may use that for something. We're gonna put that off to the side though. But yeah, I think I can definitely get with the idea of using my burnt umber for this. I think that'll be kind of cool. Since the trees and everything will be brown anyway, I think that'll definitely be necessary. And it'll stand out exactly the way they need to. Alright, let me see what else we've got going on here. So, in this forest scene, what we really need is going to be the snow just kind of covering up all these little areas of the trees themselves, like in their roots. So do something like that. Go in and clean this up a bit. I need you. So we're not really going to see a whole lot of roots. That was gorgeous. Thank you. I'm gonna cover up this tree too. And I've already drawn some, you know, mounds and things here in the scene. So, you know, they already exist here. Pare that down just a little bit. We can do something like that. I don't know, or maybe I don't want that little bowl out like that. That knot. Do that. I'm gonna come up here and erase some of this. Okay. Alright, so I have, apparently it's break time, so we're gonna step away real quick. I'm gonna stretch, I'm gonna yawn off stream, but I will be right back. Promise. I promise. just because of you. Okay, and I'm back. Alright, so we're gonna go just kind of doing some more details in here. Let me see if there's anything else that I can add to this. Can you hear me? Okay, you can. Good. It's always a concern of mine. So I go to the same old places. Ooh, actually, this is a nice little tree right there. We can actually get a little more detail maybe back here. And we have a bunch of these little branches sticking out back here. And kind of forming the remains of a random half-buried tree back here. So a lot you can actually see there. Don't play that song for me, 'cause it brings back memories of days that I was new, of days that I spent with you. Oh, don't let them play. Y'all just gonna have to get used to the fact that I do sing to myself. It helps to calm the nerves. I'm doing full concerts here. I just got a lot of feelings to express. That's all. We'll do that back here too, so we can actually do this. Maybe some of these branches can be a little more perpendicular to their main stem. Please stop it right away. Just what he said. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. I'm just kind of like looking at different winter scene forests and just kind of throwing in a bunch of stuff. The scene is getting quite busy and I haven't even added the figures yet. But that's okay because it's the background and we want the background to look lived in, to look as real as possible for an illustration. Give me just a minute. No, that is not what I want. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're suddenly being played in my music, but I do not want you here. I think I was on my way home tonight, and I was listening to Janelle Monáe, and then the track stopped, and there was silence for a while, and I'm sitting at the red light, and then some new person, like, some random new song just started playing, and I'm like, what is this? I don't listen to you. Who are you? How are you in my playlist right now? Okay, so I'll show you what I'm looking at right now, if I can pull it up. Well, I want to do more with these trees back here. Please stop it right away. I remember just what he said. Said all it. And I know that he lied. I know that you lied. Okay. And I get in here. I actually want this tree to go up a little more than just stopping right there. So maybe I'll not do those branches and those limbs there like that. What I need is my graphite. Aha! This guy. This little guy right here. He's short because he broke. I don't know if it was during a move or something. He broke just like that. So we're gonna go for a different pencil. This one looks good. All I really need to do, I need to really exert so much pressure because it's a soft lead. This is a 6B. And all I really need to do is just kind of go over my pencil lines a little bit. And do that. I can always just kind of go ahead and clean this up just a little bit. And everything can just exist as lines for right now. Sometimes I get a song in my head and I just have to hear it all the way through, so. Get all the way up there. Do that. Go back to these little strokes here. What I need to do is get my hands on a better camera clamp so you can actually see the full drawing instead of just the pieces that I have to move the drawing for you. Do that and that. This is, now with me doing this, I can actually see more of the image properly. So some of the details are actually starting to come out a little more. That's right, we got this guy going on back here. So the pencils, of course, are going to be guiding my hand as I go back to ink everything. So in the background, we just need little details like this. So I hope that you can kind of see the detail that I'm putting in there. Lurking and listening while you do some homework. Hey, look, I got to do some homework later too, so we'll both be homework people tonight, at least in a little bit. Oh, goodness. Guys, give me just a moment. I am getting a call, and I think I need to take it, so give me a moment. Okay, I'm back. All right, back to what we were working on. So it looks good. Yeah, I definitely need to get a better camera clamp. So, like I said, you can see the whole thing of what I'm seeing right now. Let's go back to our references here. This is what I'm doing. Okay. So that's the background. I still have to put people in here. So let's figure out how we can actually do that. As I said earlier, I think I had gotten an idea for the scale of everybody. So I think we're going to have my people occupy this area right in here. Maybe no taller than these squares here. And I think it'll be kind of reminiscent of what's happening here for the original cover. Original. This is not the first cover for this book. But it's the cover we're going with, well, that we went with for that. So what I need to do now is actually go ahead and clean up these little boxes here just to make them ready to receive people in the scene. The story itself takes from the perspective of the people of the woods. So that's what we want here. We want to reflect that with this telling of the book as well. So we're going to do something like that. It makes sense when we well, this actually doesn't make any sense. It'll make more sense when we do the follow-up, which is Knight's name. So that's second act. So The Night is Our Victory, this book is kind of an old world story. And by that I mean, like, where the first comic that where the new comic that I'm working on is telling the story of the modern world, this is the old world. So this is like an ancient story, like a myth almost of this people who lived in the woods, lived in the forest, and how they became what they are now. So long, so long. Okay, so what we're gonna do, just gonna do something like this, just to get their shapes in here. I think I wanted him holding some kind of weapon. I think it'll be a bow. Because of course we want to be a fantasy story, so, you know, have all of our people with these fantasy weapons. It's a bow, it's fine. But something that, you know, really telegraphs, like, the story itself. It really tells us where we are. So anyway, it's an old world story that tells of how this group of people came to be, like how their worldview was shaped, you know, what, it's an event, it's a moment in time that, you know, is really about the relations between different cultures and different people and how they react and respond to each other upon, like, an initial contact and communication. Like that first contact moment when, you know, one group of people meets another group of people and how they respond to each other based on what they see the other doing. Just putting some lotion on my hands. So that's what this story is about. And that first contact, and, you know, how, again, it really dictated how they receive each other and how they perceive each other. But we're not just looking at that, but we're also looking at how those peoples grew, you know, in comparison to, you know, where we'll see them in the modern world. This is where we see them in the ancient world. So I think that will be that for the cover here. The pencils anyway. And I think what I want also... You see this guy here? I think I want him in the back cover. Because I want him here in this book again. Little Faye twiggling. So we'll definitely put him back here. That'll be fun. I mean, he should really look like a stick figure. Because that's effectively what he is. We're gonna put him right in here. Do that so you can at least see what I'm working with. So we're going to translate him instead. So it's like a little bit of a skeletal dude. Okay, here we go. I think we are ready to ink. You ready? You ready to see the inking process? Oh my goodness, my captions. Man, that is something. That is really something. Okay. I think I just saw the word scallop in there somewhere. Alright, what we're gonna start with in this scene is this tree right here in the middle. Actually, before I do that, I think I want to make a copy of this. Just get a copy of the pencils. Start my printer. Copier here. Take this off of here. Down. Turn you on. Put you up there. Yeah, that's fine. And let me get this thing scanned into Photoshop real quick, just so I have a full, clean scan of this image here. So what I'm looking to do, I'll show you an example. If I can get it. Ah, there it is. Oh yeah, here's the, well, first of all, here's the old cover to The Night Is Our Victory. Like, everything else was basically the same. It's just, this was actually one of the actual pages. When was the original? I didn't put the year through. That's okay though. File, import. So this was the original cover, and this is Knight's Name #2. And what I did with that one, actually, I think I did it when I was working on the colors. You can see that after I scanned everything and I started to lay down my blues, I just kind of threw my blue in here just so we can get some of those basic shadows in. And then I just laid that down and had a layer on top of just brown, like a parchment look. So that's what was going on here. And I wanted to recreate that, but with these pencils. Because I wanted to have this just be like either the chapter plate or maybe the like an interior cover image or something. I don't know. I think it'll be kind of cool either way. These are... This is where we're going with the characters here. I'm trying to come up with something fun and interesting. An interesting look for them. So we're going back to this look. I like this one. And you can also see I've at some point I was pretty decent with the hatching, and then I just stopped being decent at it. So I don't know. Nope, that's not what I want. I'm going to go here. Settings so I can actually get what I'm looking for, and we're just going to scan it in. So I want this like layered robe look. I mean, they're in the middle of winter and we have these very very tropical fronds happening here in the middle of winter, so you know. There's a few things actually that I did like about this image here in this cover. So especially when it came down to the detail that I put here. Like, if I had just done this for this book, this would have been fine too. You know, just the basic line drawing was actually done in black ink, but because I had the overlay of a brown layer on top, it came out looking kind of brown. So that's kind of the inspiration for actually using my burnt umber here. And then we have my blues going in. So I kind of wanted to play around with that look again. Give me just a minute while I sit here and do some crop work off screen. Maybe. If I can find my frickin' crop tool. Can't find my... There it is. It just kind of appeared. Okay, so we're gonna... And then I'm gonna rotate. Okay. And then we're gonna save as... TNAOV cover pencils. .jpg, because I don't really... Well, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do this right. We'll save it as a Photoshop image so that I can actually manipulate it and do all the other stuff that I want to do to it. Save it again. Alright, I promise I'm coming out of Photoshop. Give me a moment. Alright, we can close that up now. Sophia Comic Art, thank you for following. Welcome to Illustrator of Fantasies. I hope you enjoy your stay and hanging out with me as we go through this revamp of this comic that I did. Alright, I am ready. Let's set ink in here. What I need is... Okay, here's my ink. Make sure that is all good. Do I want to use the more bold brush, a thicker brush, or do I want to use this one? We're going to use this one, the thicker brush, especially for what's going on in the foreground. Here is... Ooh, it's a lot of ink on you. I'm just gonna go for it. We'll get some details in here. I have to remember that I don't have to dip my brush, excuse me. I'm using a brush so far into the ink because a brand new bottle that has never been used. To follow my pencil lines as much as possible. So I'll steady my hand. I'm just gonna do some varied weight lines. Crumbs. Because like any person like any other artist, I eat at my desk. I mean, really like any other student. Alright, what do we think of that? I think it looks great, but I don't know if you can really see a lot of the detail that I just put into this thing. So we're just going to go on. So I'm learning and I'm seeing that this brown is not really as dense as my black ink, which is a good thing. It's a very good thing. I want to get this tree here. I don't think you can see what I'm working on. Okay. Bring this over here so I can actually see what's going on in this bottle. Okay. Do more texture lines here. Can gesture in some of the nodding. Do that. And we can get this one back here. I can really just go ahead and block in all my trees. So draw a branch on you. Go that way, maybe. Going that way before we rejoin the trunk. Because the what's happening in the foreground, all these little limbs and things everywhere, they're going to be just a single line of this brown. I don't really need to go in with too much detail, so we can keep that very, very simple. So I can kind of cheat and just do that. We'll do that. We'll get all of the main trees. Some of the details will, of course, fall off. But, you know, we can still bring out a few of them. Geek, hi! Love your face too. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. So glad you're here. Doing networking Discord calls. Okay, you know I'm here, so enjoy it. Loving the progress of things. Thank you. Everyone does not know, that is my good friend Geek in the Pink. He is an amazing gamer, an amazing streamer. I leave the games up to everybody else in the Waffle Squad. I am just here to paint things, so. But he is an amazing person, so. Matter of fact, I think I have this set up. I should. Yes, you do. Perfect. actually do this here. If you can see that. Oh, I gotta be careful. I don't want to have an ink disaster all over my desk. Anyway, yes, please go check out Geek in the Pink. Really great, fantastic person. Yours truly would not be as bold as I am right now. We're not for geek support, so... Bring this limb up that way. And this is what I mean about these branches here. You're both lovely people and I'm happy to have encountered you. Here, Shelby. I mean, that is absolutely true. We are both lovely people. No, Geek really is fantastic, so. You still can't see what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, keyboard, I need you over there, right now. There we go. Okay. We're at the top of the page now. So, what I'm talking about when it comes to these limbs that I don't have to do a single line is basically this. There is something on you. Okay. These trees look fantastic. Thank you, Shelby. It's actually coming out really, really great. Much better than I was expecting. But I can do all of this. We're going to now come down in here for this one. So I don't have to do much in the realm of details. We can get that side over there. Get some of these details going up there. That color makes them pop so well. Yeah, and I'm trying to keep what's going to happen to the overall color of this piece is going to be, you know, just like I said, I'm going to keep to like a cool blue tinted gray. And it'll still be like this in this family value. But you know, we'll have that pop a little more, and it'll have a very winter look to it, which is definitely what I'm going for. And like I said, we can just go straight up. Without fearing any overlap of anything. But it's really the main trees that are going to show up like this. And here's the best part. I don't really have to put the tops on them, especially the ones in the back. Over here now. I do just kind of jump all over the place. Move my camera over a little bit so we can actually get more of what's going on without me having to move the image around too much. Okay, so we are now over here. We can do that back there. So we have a tree that's just kind of slanted off to the side. We'll bring it back down to the ground, but oops, missing a tree back in here. And we're going to get that one in here. We'll do that, so we know that that's back there. Do that, so that's back there. And we'll toss this one in here. So the back there. And do another tree back there, just like that. Oh, and all the way over here, on this end. Hi, Writhing Virtue. Welcome. Hello, hello. This looks like quite the image so far. I hope that it is. It's supposed to be the cover to my comic. A new one that I'm working on. I've put aside the other one because here's the thing. It's going to take me so long to actually do anything with that to get it to where I want it to be that I said, let me just focus on a different project and make this, you know, the project that I finished this year. And so far, just for the cover, which I just started, I think I'm in a good shape. I think I'm in really good shape here. Okay, so now we're going to get into the busyness of this scene. I'm going to put you ink back over there. And we're going to just kind of come up like this. And we're going to draw our little winter branches sticking out of the snow. Do something just like that. I want to get this one here. Follow that all the way up like that. And we'll get these little branches too. do all that. And then back here, we have... Ooh, that's about to be a giant glob of ink on the page. We don't want that. Do this. This is a tree over here, so we'll go ahead and do a little bit of that going on in there. Moving around a lot, but need to go too crazy or too wild. So we don't want the ableist language here. But we only need but so much of these branches in here. That one went a little haywire, but that's okay. We can work with that. Oh, that's right. This one right up in here. Alright, and now I can get all the dozens of little sticks and things that I've put in here. Not every last one of them will be represented in the final, but you know, I think I've got enough of them in to have a nice variety to choose from. I'm actually going to do this just to be one of those extra branches that are just kind of sticking out of the ground. And we can let that be pretty bold. You can see that down there, what I did there. Around the page. Not necessarily looking to fill up every single empty spot, but we do want to make sure that a lot of our more bold areas, our more bold pieces in here, like I said, are represented. So for this new project, is it connected to your other work you've been doing, or completely unrelated piece? It's definitely a completely unrelated piece. My first ever comic book that I had ever published a few years ago, back in, what was it, 2014, 2013. I mean, the redo was in 2014. I don't know if I had done it in 2013. But my first project ever was titled, let me move things around so I don't get ink on things, was titled The Night Is Our Victory. It was a story that just kind of came to me in more of a poetic form, and I ended up just making the images for it and just kind of saying, well, you know, let's see what else I can do with this. Can I turn this into a comic book? And then I did. It took me a whole week to make everything, to get everything the way I wanted it to, so And ever since, I'm like, I really, really, really want to revisit this story because of its mythicness. That was about it. It was kind of this formative story for the world in which the other story is taking place, which a lot of my stories do. But it's about the people at an ancient time in an ancient age of who they were as a society and as a culture. So I decided I wanted to do that. And that is what this is turning into. And finally, it's taken me years to actually get to this point where I say, you know what I can do? I can finally do that story over. So let me just do that. And so that's what we're doing. So it's a very different story than what I was working on originally. But kind of a story that's been a long time coming. I don't want to forget about all of these things back here. So there's a lot of busyness going on back here. Got all these little stiff lines of grass in here. Do that over here too. Now, the next part is how am I going to... Oh, yeah, I almost forgot about this little guy here. I don't want to forget him. I need fresh water, too. Oh, my word. It was really cool to hear. I dig the title. It does have this poetic and ancient vibe to it, and the old cover has a lot of hues I really like. Look forward to seeing this new version. I do too. There's a lot that I want to carry over from the old version of this and into the new version. So most of what I am going to be doing for this remake of it is just kind of updating the art to more reflect my style as it is now. Because the old art was very... Like, it wasn't... I don't think it's plain. It's just there's a lot going on. There's a lot of layers of colors, which is what I work with, especially with watercolors, because I can do that. There's a lot of color mingling happening here, and it's not really defined what different shapes are and what's actually happening in the scene. So I want to actually go back into this and say, let's actually bring this up a little more. We're going to punch it up a little more. But we're also going to reconstruct these compositions so that they make more sense visually, stylistically, but also in a way that is narratively, that's the word I'm looking for, in a way that tells a story. So we can actually see what's actually happening on the page without having to decipher, oh, where's this happening? Where's this happening? My original thought was like, well, you know, we're supposed to be watching this scene happening in the woods, and it's dark, so we can't really see a whole lot of what's going on. And, you know, in real life, nothing has an outline of black around it, so we can play around with that. So I'm going to stick with that. And then it turned into, you know, at first I'm like, oh, this is really cool. You know, as I've developed my skill at painting, I'm like, that looks like a whole lot of mud. So let's try that again. So that's kind of where I'm going. We're going to use a thinner brush here. I'm going to get a few more of these details down in here. And then we'll definitely get this little guy here right now. It also reminds me of Studio Ghibli's storyboards I've seen. Definitely your own style, especially with the colors. I feel that. Look at something I wrote a week ago going, what? This is silly. Yeah, I've definitely had those moments. I'm just like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? So, especially, you know, like I said, just looking over my old work, I'm like, I am so much better than that. How did that happen? But, you know, I really did love this story a lot, so it's the other reason why I wanted to come back to it. So he is down there. And we'll get our couple right up in here. Start with did copies of the original get sold anywhere? I traveled around. I went around the city. I was actually selling copies of the comic at, you know, comic shows and art shows around Columbus. So I definitely made a bit of money off of it. Went to groceries at the time, of course. But it was fun. It was a really great experience, and you know, it's kind of something a type of feeling that I'm looking to recapture and experience if I can. Can I have again? But yeah, I've definitely sold issues. This was just the first, and then, you know, I've done a few more since then, and I sold some really great numbers of those too, but especially for someone just starting out. Yeah, I think I did really well. But, you know, I wanna do that again. I want that energy again. I want that life again. Just kind of playing with my ink and my hatching right now. Hey, now got to start somewhere. It was great. Like I said, I really enjoyed that entire everything that I was doing. You know, I sold some original art pieces and lots of prints. And I'm like, this is really the ambition here. This is what I want to do. I mean, there's lots of things that I want to do, but that was definitely up at the top of like all the fun activities that I've done in my life. It was surreal, and I think it also overwhelmed me a little bit too. So, wait, I'm so pumped to see you on. Found you on TikTok. You found me on TikTok? I'm not on TikTok, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you for the cheer. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. But no, I miss it. But I got really overwhelmed with everything that was happening all at once. There was a lot of attention on my work at the time. And by a lot of attention, I mean, you know, I was known around Columbus, at least for a little bit. And it kind of scared me. And I said, I need to step back. I've got something else I've got to just kind of do. I've got to focus on my other life, like the life of actually getting work and stuff. So somebody has shown your art or something. I don't remember because I'm an idiot. Sorry. I mean, I have to know who's showing off my work on TikTok. That sounds kind of cool. I'd like to thank that person for that. But yeah, I think it was just the fear for me. It was like, oh my god, this is overwhelming. I had my picture in the newspaper because I was part of one of the artists who was doing a 6-week comic story that was appearing in the newspaper at some point. Well, then they credited you, so that's good. I'm glad that they did. But, you know, and then I had someone recognize me while I was at work. I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for this life yet. I just want to make comics and not, you know, have that kind of attention. But I think because it was an adventure story and I think people were, you know, really excited to see that. That's, you know, where that attention came from. So I'm like, okay, we're going to try this again. And I'll be better about being prepared for, you know, people to see my work. And I'd rather people see my work and recognize my work and, you know, say, oh, it's Celestian IOF over here. That's that person who did all this. So, you know, I appreciate that. Good peeps on the internet crediting the artist. I know, right? Like I said, Adimara, I am glad that you were here. Welcome to Illustrator of Fantasies, where I am diligently working on my comic. I'm glad to be here, friend. Aw, thank you. I actually am really happy when people do find my work and, you know, they really enjoy it. It does make me feel good. It really does. Even if I have a tendency to run from attention. Okay, I think are ready to do some Now here's the question. Should I in blue ink do like my yes, I should do the snow. Excuse me. I think I should in blue ink. Oh, you know what I'm forgetting? The bow. and that hand. So let me get back in here. It's nice in here. We like trees. We do like trees here. Very thin. Do that. Okay, there we go. I don't know. Maybe I won't do it in blue. Maybe I'll just keep everything in brown here. Let's get their shadows in. I don't want to have too many competing colors. The idea is that the scene is drawn in brown ink. Actually, now there's an idea. Maybe to get some of the texture that I want on the ground, I'm going to go with a giant brush. If I'm wrong about this. Nope, looks good to me. Okay. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So I can get thin lines and thick lines as I need it. So let's go to the back here. It's a bold choice using this giant brush, but oh, what's going on there? I think it was a good one. It's like little bubbles forming on here. Do that. Get some of that. Go. Ooh, you know what? This entire area over here needs some ground. There we go. Okay. Come down here and do that. do this. ToonFan 2K18, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Illustrator of Fantasies. My little home on the web, I guess you could call it that. Appreciate you stopping in. Thank you for becoming a friend. Come in back here. Do that just to get another tree back here. That's a tree right there that I was about to draw on top of. To do that, I'll make sure we have ground showing everywhere. Otherwise, it'll just kind of look like everything's floating. How are you doing, your artist friend? I am doing pretty well tonight. I'm blowing off homework so I can actually do this tonight. So I really wanted to start it. Wow, let's talk. Wanted to start this book tonight. So I am doing pretty well. Thank you for asking. Got some magic happening over there. Oh, you know what? I forgot some ground over here. Okay. What? Aww. Thank you, ToonFan, for the gift sub. Appreciate it. Had Chipotle for dinner to cheer me up, so I'm living life. Thank you, thank you. Alright. I think we are in a good spot. Alright, y'all. I need fresh water, and I need to clean these brushes. So give me just a couple minutes. I promise I will be right back. Oh my goodness! ToonFan, thank you also for the subscription for yourself. That's fantastic. Wow. Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Alright, let me go refresh my brushes. I will be right back, promise. Okay, I'm back. What's happening? Let me catch up in chat. Senior spoke Kemen too, at least that's who I think it was. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad you all get to catch up. Alright, so this is it. This is the piece. We definitely need to get a taller camera stand here. But I'm here just wish someone wouldn't ignore my message. That's between y'all. I think I'm missing a bit of ground back there. But what we're going to do first, we're going to clean this up a little bit so I can actually see what's happening. We're going to start way back here. The great thing about using this ink is that it's acrylic ink, which means it's not going to get mussed up by water when I go and take my watercolors over this. And what I'm actually thinking about doing, instead of using watercolors specifically, I'll probably be using some gouache. Because I'm going to see what I can actually do with layering gouache. So let's go ahead and clean this up. Y'all are adorable, I love it. Clean up the pencils, and the ink, of course, does not smear because it is now dry. So I don't have to fear that. Once upon a time, I was working with ink that was not completely dry when I went to erase it. Oh man, let me tell you, it was not a good day. I think it was actually one of my first attempts using ink, and that happened. And I had never gone back to it since, so I think that's probably one of the other reasons why my early comics work was just so muddy looking, because I didn't use any ink to actually help any of the pages or anything stand out. It was just like, we're just gonna take some pencils, draw some color, throw some color down, and call it a day. I'm a much better artist than that in general now, and I have a little more control over my brush strokes and my color choices and how I'm using the color, but, you know. Clean up our pencil lines. Approaching a 3-hour mark. I want to be gentle with the eraser, but we definitely want to pick up some of these bold pencil lines here. There's some areas I got a little heavy-handed with the pencil. Okay. We are cleaned up. So when the pencils get erased, let me do this over the trash can. Hold on a minute. When the pencils get erased, this is what we're left with. A very nice, crisp ink drawing. There's still some ghostly pencil lines in here, but honestly I think that just kind of adds to the texture of the image itself. So I'm not really hurt by that. I'm not bothered by that at all. I think it's kind of cool. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a folded cover here. So this is going to be the front of the book, like this section right here. So we have our two central characters here. And then we have, this is going to be the back of the book, which means this tree is the spine. So that's why that exists just like that. So I'm leaving myself some space to kind of get the text up here of the title. So we'll have that. It'll be kind of busy, but we'll have different effects that we can use for the text, such as glows and borders, and there's lots of things you can do in Photoshop with text, so I'll be playing around with that. That's the other thing. I made this, I think this was the one I did in Photoshop. This is either did this in Photoshop or I did this in GIMP, so it's very, very simple. I learned to make a comic book, especially for being an indie artist, so you don't have to worry about some company trying to save comics paying you $200 for a 20-page book. $200. You may as well just pay an exposure for all that. That's them. This is me. Making my own stuff. Doing my own work. Which is the most important thing. Being an artist, able to just kind of have your own platform and be able to produce and publish your own work has been the greatest joy of my life. And just kind of, I can find my own resources and I can do my own thing. I can tell my own stories and I can own my own work. That was always my goal. That was ever since I was a kid, and I knew that I wanted to be an artist when I grew up, and then saying, well, I want to make my own stuff. I want to tell my own stories. Like, yeah, I can draw all these other things happening here, but I want my own things. I want to create a world. I want to be a storyteller. And this is me doing that. So I'm super excited that I actually do get to do that. And that, I have kind of established that ground for myself. So there we are. So we're going to wind down now. I was hoping that I could get to putting some color on this, but I think that's going to have to wait for another day. So everybody knows. I mentioned this before. I'm kind of cheating today. This is my cheat day. I should be doing a paper, and I have to actually get to that paper tonight, so that's why I'm going to end this stream fairly early right now. So this month, for the rest of September, I will be working on this book. I'll probably, I have my resources, so I probably won't always be doing it on stream, but every time I am on stream, at least for now, whenever we're doing a Making Comics stream, I will be working on this book. So whenever I can spare a few moments, I'll, be sitting down just to get through some things. So at least for this month, we're going to be getting, if I can get to at least this stage on every single page, which is basically their own set pieces, then I'll be in good shape for October to actually get the colors and everything down. So I've got some time to actually get through this. So, maybe if I devote an hour or two tomorrow, hey, I'll probably have another page done. And then we'll come back and actually have some colors in it. I'm hoping that I can actually get on again for a few more days this week. Let me take a look at something. I kind of gave myself a initial schedule to, you know, kind of jump in and play around with some gouache tomorrow. I don't know if I'm actually going to make that, or we'll figure it out. I think that was probably actually going to be a very early morning stream. So if you're up in the morning, in the AM, hopefully, so will I be, and I'll be up and just kind of playing around with some gouache and just doing some testing. So that is my Artist Technic stream. So that'll be tomorrow morning. I think I'm doing that from 7 to 9. I'm going to try to, right before work. So I'll have just a couple of hours that I can sit down and just devote to playing around with that. And then Wednesday, I will definitely come back. I think I'll be live either 8 in the morning or probably around 12 noon. I'm still trying to figure that out when that's going to happen, to actually jump back into the next page for this book here. And then probably the rest of the week we'll have some other fun things going on. This is also my working week, so I do have a 40-hour week job, so I will be actually working this weekend. I'm actually closing. So I won't be on this weekend as I want to be, but that's alright because I'll still be doing this. For October, I think I mentioned this over the weekend, I will also be doing Inktober. I still don't know if I'm going to be doing it every day. I'm going to try and do every day. We're going to try and make that happen, but I will definitely be streaming during the month of October. And I do have some fun events planned for the rest of this year. You will just have to stay tuned to find out. But I want to thank everyone for coming by and hanging out. The gift subs, I was not expecting that. Thank you, Adimara, for the bits. Sophia, Wingnut, Cooper, Toon Fan. You guys, thank you for the follows. Toon Fan, thank you for the subscriptions. I appreciate you. You guys, thank you so much for coming by. Shelby, as always a pleasure here. Geek, thank you so much. Right now, we are going to find someone to raid. So give me just a moment while I look up and see who's doing stuff. You know, let's go hang out with my best online friend, Solid. I think he is playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? What are you doing? Alright guys, we're gonna go raid Solid's channel. So let's head on over. Let me get this going right here. Yes, we are going. I love hanging out with Solid so much. He is so fun. And please, 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 everyone, have as much fun when you go over there. You guys can go wild and crazy. Like, I know he'll love it, and we'll all get to see him smile, which is always the best part about watching him stream. So, okay, I'm going to send you guys off right now. Have a good night. I'm going to get back into homework. We're all going to hang out for a little bit. Take care. Peace. Bye. Love ya.